Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. This is your favorite video section. It's the video best bets. Each of us are going to give you a best bet for this weekend, and Preston's going to go for NFL Week 1. So let's get started. We're going to start with you, Bryan, since we're talking baseball. You've got to play tomorrow. It's Miami and St. Louis at Miami. What are you looking at?
Yeah, this is a 180 favorite here on Miami, and normally I'm not going to sell a 180 favorite to my clients, but I will be betting this game, and it sets up very well. When you look at this past series here, St. Louis just played the Mets, and Miami just played Philadelphia. So St. Louis is coming off of the obviously tougher series. Miami had another great outing pitching-wise today, so the bullpen is set up really well here. And you've got St. Louis and Michael Walker, who's setting career highs in WHIP at 1.44 and opponent average at 278. He's not having a good season. Now his BABIP is high, and that could be one of the reasons. In fact, it is one of the reasons. But we catch Fernandez here at home, 26-1 pitching at home for Miami. It's rare you're going to get him in this level. I like what St. Louis has done in the back end of the bullpen with O closing. I think he should have been closing pretty much all season long. But I don't see them scoring much off of Fernandez here. 180 is the line. I'm going to lay it. I won't be selling it, but I'll be betting it myself.
All right. I'll jump in and do my baseball plays since it's tomorrow as well, and then we'll go to Preston's. I'm going to go tomorrow. We got the Chicago White Sox and the Cubs tomorrow as they're finishing up the home-and-home interleague series. They're the Chicago Subway Series. And, you know, we're taping on Wednesday, so they are playing tonight, obviously, Game 3 of this. And the White Sox, they've won 4 in a row right now, and maybe they got fired up over the weekend with Chris Sale throwing a temper tantrum. The Cubs, you know, we've been talking about them. They're not playing the way they've been playing. They've lost 3 of their last 4 over the last 21 games. They're just 7-14. A team that at the beginning of the season was running away with everything, and all of a sudden the wheels have started to fall off. For the Cubs, Lackey's going to go, and Lackey, last 4 starts, and we've talked about it, it's been contagious with the Cubs starters. They were dominant at the beginning of the season, and now all of them are mediocre. You know, they're giving up 4 or 5 runs, you know, in their outings, and that's just not getting it done. And Lackey's a perfect example of that. Last 4 starts, 24 innings pitched, 35 men have reached base on him, and when you keep putting guys on base, only one thing's going to happen, especially when you're, you know, pitching in Chicago. They're going to score. 17 of them have scored. His ERA last 4 games, 6.37. The WHIP high, 1.45. I'm going to look at Sale, and, you know, I know the Cubs just added Chapman, as we talked about in the last video. But Chapman's worthless if you don't have a lead going to the 9th inning. So I'm looking at this one. Chris Sale, we all know what happened, you know, over the weekend with his temper tantrum over the uniforms. Got a 5-day suspension from the club for insubordination. Rumor has it that he was working on a pitch during that. He's working on his cutter. With the
no one was laughing.
No one was laughing. All right, but this is a statement for him. I mean, because he's had so much, you know, press over the weekend with everything. I think he's going to throw a big game. You've got all the rumors swirling around with is he or isn't he on the trade block. Either way, he's going to want to have a great outing out there. Silence the critics, and if they are trying to shop him and he's going to go to a contender, which at the beginning of the season, if you remember the first month of the season, we were talking about maybe an all-Chicago World Series. Well, it's not looking good for, you know, the Cubs are still there, but they're going in the wrong direction. So we'll see what happens. I like them, and it's not often you're going to get Chris Sale as an underdog. So I'm going to go ahead and take the White Sox in this one. This is one of those series, too, big brother versus little brother. You know, the Cubs, even though they've never won anything, they're still the bigger draw in Chicago, and the White Sox always get up for them. That's my play tomorrow. Let's go to the NFL Week 1 with Preston.
Sure. I wanted to get this one out before it potentially gets to 3, and it's a play on the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 1 at the New York Jets. I actually gave it to clients a couple weeks ago. It was pick, and it's slowly rising. I think the win total on the Jets is also coming down slowly, just with the disarray in New York, especially the quarterback situation. And there's kind of 2 ways this can go if they get Fitzpatrick. then they got a guy if they eventually work out a deal. I mean, and then they have a guy who hasn't been playing football, hasn't been practicing with the team at all, trying to jump in and be the starter. Right after he just finally got his last contract, and he's like, "Phew, okay, now I can retire in a few years." Or they have Geno Smith going at quarterback, and if that's the case, he's really, really poor at playing quarterback. So I think if it ends up being Geno Smith that's starting, I think it's a number that should be closer to 3, so getting it before it hits there is going to be crucial. And I think it's just a great spot to back Cincinnati, who, again, if it's Geno or if it's Fitzpatrick, Cincinnati actually had the best defense last year in points per play given up. If you break it down per play, they were number 1 in the NFL, just right ahead of Denver, who was first in some of the other categories. But Cincinnati's defense, I mean, they're top 10 in just about every category defensively. They're not a defense that's going to just sit down. And if it's, just hectic in New York and the Jets are struggling and they don't know who their quarterback's going to be and they're trying to have these practices, I just think it's a good spot to fade the Jets and then, play on the Bengals here under 3.
All right, good stuff. Preston says to take Cincinnati -2, week 1 of the NFL. Bryan, you're on Miami tomorrow in Major League Baseball, and I'm on the White Sox with Chris Sale. Those are your 3 best bets for this week. And guys, hey, you want to save $10 this week? Well, use coupon code SUMMER in the number 10. That's SUMMER in the number 10, and you can take $10 off any package this weekend. You can always use it on the Weekend All Access and bring that deal down to just $59. Get everything through Monday on the Weekend All Access. That's it for the video best bets. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.com.